The best thing about High on Life is seeing everyone on Twitter who thinks they're far too above Justin Roiland's comedy to enjoy the game or find it funny. It's okay not to find the game funny. It's okay not to enjoy the game. But reviews like this, giving it a 3 out of 10, scores which should be preserved for games that are completely broken, when the shooting mechanics are great and the worlds are beautiful, is absolutely wild to me. I'm convinced this is Jim Ryan's latest attempt to stop the Activision Blizzard merger with Xbox. But rather than reading useless reviews that are designed to just get clicks, let's play the game for ourselves. High on Life starts in the best way possible, with your stepsister doing lines off her compact makeup mirror. Wait, I've seen this adult video before. She'll be stuck in the dishwasher in under 5 minutes. Our parents have gone away on vacation, so my sister was left in charge. I made my way to the kitchen to see if she's keeping the place in tip-top shape, but the microwave is an absolute mess. How long does it take to grab some lemon-scented wet wipes and rub down the inside? My mum also left me a note on the fridge, and it's nice for me to get immersed into a game where your mum cares enough about you to leave you a note before she leaves forever and never returns home or calls you back. Our stepsister needs a Our stepsister needs a lift because she's too high, presumably on life, to drive, but we step outside and an alien ship teleports into the neighbour's front garden. Mr. Belfry, the neighbour with dementia, goes outside to investigate but ends up getting rolled and smoked by the aliens. So yeah, the aliens are here. Unfortunately, not to probe us, but to turn us into drugs. One of the aliens actually dies on the street, so I go over to its body to investigate and end up finding a pistol that talks to me in one of Justin Roiland's 2 voices that he can do.
Oh, that feels so much better, thank you!
It's a cute little gun with a reload animation of pulling back the foreskin and spewing a little bit of green goo out of the tip. We take out some of the aliens, grab a crystal from their ship, and eavesdrop on our neighbours having a domestic.
I've been waiting my whole life, babe. I'm done waiting.
You cannot take on the aliens all by yourself.
Of course I can. This is all how it's supposed to be. I've been chosen. It's my destiny.
I'll tell you what, it's a good thing these aliens showed up, because if this dude's hairline, American flag on the front of his property, and marriage tell me anything, it's that he was just a few days away from shooting up the local LGBTQ cafe. We nip home, and my sister has actually done something. She's bashed an alien up with a baseball bat. I take my new gun friend up to my room, because I've never had any friends or girls to show off my room to before, but he just starts shouting at me. With the crystal hooked up to our embarrassingly dirty microwave, we warp ourselves to the alien place called Blim City. Despite being an alien world, it's actually very similar to America, as there's fast food on every corner, and no one questions why I'm walking around with a handgun. Anyway, we go find famous bounty hunter Gene to help us take out the evil aliens known as the ZYFin, who are trying to enslave humanity and turn us into drugs. Gene has no legs and smells like a drain pipe, so he's basically a war veteran, only he gets a peaceful 8 hours sleep every night because those PTSD dreams don't wake him up in a cold sweat. He agrees to help us as long as we house him for a while, so he gives us this sweet bounty hunter suit. Unfortunately, the suit has some kind of virus, so I've got endless pop-ups telling me there's alien MILFs in my local area that want to fuck. However, I'm not interested in these pop-ups, as if I wanted to raw dog a 3-eyed extraterrestrial, I'd just give your mother a call. So I visit the local second-hand store to grab an activation license so I can actually see out of this suit properly. The owner of the store looks like an alien that claims disability, but his disability is his metabolism. He lets me know that everything in the store is on sale, so I try to buy his baddie daughter, but it doesn't work because she's not Russian and I'm not an Arabian prince. I get back home to find my sister has removed the alien body from the hallway, but hasn't cleaned up the blood. First it was the microwave, now it's the blood. Next thing I know, she won't have even ironed my pajamas, so that'll be tonight's 8 hours out of the window. Gene assigns us our first bounty, and it's an alien who goes by the name of Ninetorg, the 9th of all the Torgs. They're only a short walk away, so we set off with high hopes and a rock-hard penis. Down in the slums, it's like a ghetto. There's meth heads, and people with clear medical problems like a detached limb, who can't afford to get help due to the extortionate healthcare prices. There's also annoying little kids, but to many of your surprise, I don't actually shoot him. I mean, he does die because law enforcement catch him with a stray bullet, but it wasn't me.
Oh, am I supposed to be impressed? You shot all the drones? I could have done that with my eyes.
Wow, police shooting little kids. this really is America. I kill some of the local grunts, who are really tanking the property value of this area by partaking in antisocial behaviour. Zillow has a 2-bed apartment in this area at an all-time low price, but you do also run the risk of accidentally getting shot while you're just trying to toast a bagel in your kitchen. Although, when toasting a bagel, you do also run the risk of burning your fingy tips when you're trying to remove it from the toaster, so I guess that's kind of the same thing. Down here I also meet an honest fisherman who tells me he's not actually fishing, he's just working up the courage to drown himself. About 74% of men that fish alone actually contemplate drowning themselves. I would know, I also fish. Eventually I come across a dry cleaners. With so many washing machines, my stepsis wouldn't know which one to get stuck in. Although if this game's opening has taught us anything about her cleaning skills, it's that she wouldn't be seen dead near a washing machine. There's a secret back room in here, so I go knock and ask what's happening, but all they say back is, am I the buyer? I panic and tell them I'm just doing laundry, which is also true, as I thought I'd get my whites done while I'm here, but they tell me to piss off. We try knocking again, and they once again ask if I'm the buyer, but I have a really hard time lying to anyone that's not my girlfriend, so I tell them I'm not. I then realise we're just going to have to knock once again and this time lie about being the buyer. I walk in and there's 2 aliens, one who's rocking an absolute dump truck, might I add, selling a talking Australian knife. To those in the comments who seem to think I'm Australian, this is what an Australian actually sounds like.
Hi lads and lasses, Modest Pelican here.
In all honesty though, it's a massive missed opportunity for this game having the knife sound Australian and not having it sound like a London roadman. Stabbing is just in our British culture, and I feel like this game could have been even better if you could G-check the aliens. Not only can Knifey stab aliens, which is great, but he also has an absurdly stretchy tongue, so I can use him as a grapple hook. Also, having something with a tongue that can do work like that is always useful for those lonely nights. We eventually find Ninetorg, and it's a pretty easy boss fight, as her move pattern is like 2% of what Melania does in Elden Ring. The hardest part is where the floor drops out, so I have to grapple between these giant hornets so I don't fall in the toxic waste. We take out Ninetorg, and naturally I teabag her, because the toxic gamer in me escapes every now and then. No, seriously, it's a real problem. I have to hire a demonologist to exercise me and put him back inside my body. It's a whole thing. 5Torg is now free because 9Torg was holding her hostage this entire time. She gives a speech about how she's going to turn the slums into a better place, but before she can finish, I proceed to also kill her too. There was no reason for me to do this, I just wanted to see if the game would let me, and what do you know? It did.
The numbers.
Nice! We killed another boss. I think like a bonus secret boss. Good work.
I go home to let Jean know that we took down our first bounty and took a step towards taking down the ZYFin. On my way back, however, I come across a sad alien kid who just wants to drum, but he has no drum to play. I nip over to the second-hand store and buy a drum just for the little kid. Sometimes it just feels nice to do a good deed and help out someone in need, because that's what life is truly about. Well, that and all those sympathy likes I'll get for posting this on social media to prove what a great guy I actually am. We report back to Jean and he's surprised we didn't die, but he's also happy to see us. Turns out him and Knifey also used to know each other, but things clearly ended badly because Knifey asked me to stab Jean in the stomach.
What the fuck?
Jean has set us up with a state-of-the-art bounty hunting machine, which will also teleport us near any target that we choose. While I appreciate the kind gesture, I can't help but feel like it ruins the feng shui of the living room. Like he couldn't have fit this in the kitchen or one of the closets. I'm supposed to choose my next bounty, but just before I travel, I realise Jean is watching the 1994 sci-fi comedy Tammy and the T-Rex, starring Paul Walker before he was 6 feet under. You can legitimately sit here and watch the entire film if you want to. The full-length thing is in the game. I mean, it's sitting at a 43% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty rough, but hey, this game's Metacritic score isn't too much higher and I'm still enjoying it, so I guess that doesn't really mean much. Our next bounty is Krubis, who's hiding out in a jungle, and what a beautiful jungle it is too. You know a location in a game looks good when you do the E3 showcase thing of stopping and slowly panning across to really take in everything that you're seeing? When hunting down your bounty, this game's structure basically consists of doing a lot of shooting, platforming, some mini-games here and there, while you work your way through different beautiful open levels. It's actually a lot like Doom Eternal, but rather than listening to heavy metal, you're listening to lo-fi space beats. Something I actually wish this game would let you have more freedom with would be being a terrible person. Like, I'm not asking for the game to have its own version of No Russia or anything like that, but here, I'll show an example of what I mean. This planet is inhabited by cute little Care Bears, but the G3 have enslaved them all. Here I find a free one explaining to me what's happened. Why at this point I cannot simply just boot the little bear into the pool of acid below, I'll never know. So please, if High on Life 2 ever happens, allow me to volley a Care Bear top bins. My fantasies aside, however, I save this entire village from the RThree and free them from the awful conditions they've been living in. I ask the king if he knows where my bounty is, and he tells me there's a local man living in a mansion across the road who should actually know. When I arrive at the mansion, the dude is tweaking out and he thinks I'm his drug dealer. His mate is also OD'd on the floor, and this feels like a good time to remind you all not to do drugs. This is what happens when you smoke one marijuana. You know this guy's rich because he's got exotic fruits, a crippling drug addiction, and both gas and induction stovetops. He's living the life out here. He gives us a warp device, which is basically teleportation, but we still need things like floppy disks to actually power this warp device. So off we go to find a blank warp disk. And on my way, I come across a Care Bear office facility. I walk in and the receptionist is on the phone, we tell her we're the new hire, and moments later, we're sorting through paperwork at an office job. I may have only been doing this in-game for less than 5 minutes, but it really gave me the perspective I needed as to why so many office workers unalive themselves. This was depressing. The most eventful thing that happened all day was the office drama. 2 of my co-workers went out on a date, leaving the 3rd alone and crying. I offered to take them out on a date with me, but they reject me because we don't really know each other and I've literally just started working here. That's actually a really sensible decision from them, as I could be some kind of weirdo who puts a roofie in their drink or something. But no, in reality I just wanted to show her my custom skate parks on Skate 3. I don't actually take rejection too well, as it brings up a lot of trauma for me, as I'm the only one of my siblings that wasn't molested by my uncle. Do you know what it's like to feel left out of the group like that and be the only one that doesn't need therapy for the rest of your life? It's isolating. Anyway, I shoot her in the back of the head. Eventually I find a blank warp disk, so we head back to the mansion and ask if we can use the dude's disk encoder so we can warp the bounty here to us. He says no, because we didn't bring him any drugs, but as fate would have it, he actually starts having a seizure due to us bringing him no drugs. We go ahead and use his encoder, then warp the bounty here and have a good old-fashioned tickle fight. Kidding, we actually try to violently murder one another in a small boss arena designed to be challenging, but I'm a pro FPS player, so I cook this Krubis dude. When I defeat him, I take his gun, so I now have a shotgun named Gus, whose special ability is sucking enemies towards you like a vacuum. Damn, I can't wait to get home and give this to my stepsister as a present and see if she finally starts cleaning the house. We teleport back home, and my sister and Jean are having an argument about some guy my sister has been hanging out with. Jean is trying to be a father figure, telling her that she shouldn't be hanging around these alien guys. But she's all like, #slut so yeah, good for her, I guess. This game is so much fun. It got done dirty by the reviews, but everyone that I've spoken to is also having a great time, so you should go check it out if you like the look of it. Subscribe if you enjoy the content, leave a like, all of that jazz. It really does actually help out the channel, so it would be appreciated. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye. A big shout out to my motherload Voiy Bois and above, Björn, TheGamerTeg, and ZYFin. Thank you guys for your support.